Hey everyone, welcome back to Elemental Cartomancy. It's Chris here, and I'm here today to do a walkthrough of the lovely Chakra Healing Tarot by Malumir Logan. Okay, so this is another deck that I was talking about on my live on Thursday just past. So the box is similar to the Shimmering Veil box, so it's not quite a two-part box. It opens on a hinge like this. And it has this wee kind of an inset space for the cards in the book here. One of these ones. Lovely matte box, very sturdy and durable, keeps the cards safe, and really nicely decorated too. So yeah, lovely box. We have a book that's about the same size as the cards. It fits in with the cards. It gives a fair bit of information on all of the cards. Tells us about the random page that I've opened that. It tells us about each of the kingdoms for the minors, so we'll talk about that a bit more when we come to that. So for each of the minor cards, we get told what chakra it relates to, what planetary energy, and the message of the card. We're actually getting two of these pages for each minor card, and I would assume the same for the majors. Yes. So gives us the same amount of information for the minors as it does for the majors, which is good in my book. So that's the book in the box. Because this is a Kickstarter, there are other extras that I'll show you, but I'll flip through the cards first, just purely because I've got the Zoom set up to be on the cards. So we'll do the cards first, and then we'll talk about the stuff that comes with. Let me just flip this down. So you're focused in on cards here. These are the card backs. Cardstock is beautiful matte cardstock. It's not too shiny. It's going to be a dream to shuffle, I would imagine. So definitely happy with the cardstock. I'd imagine these cards are going to hold up really well. So I'll do a flip through. Malumir and myself, I had a prototype deck, and Malumir and myself actually, so Malumir Logan is the creator or creatrix. We did a live walkthrough of this deck where we went into all the cards in depth. So I'll try not to say too much. I'll try and let this be a quicker flip through. But Malumir's put together her own introduction spread. She's sent out to the backers to use. So I'm going to do that here on this video, and that might take a fair bit of time because it's quite an in-depth spread. So I'll try and keep most of the time for that, but I'm like, I'll get gabbing. So magician with the tools on the table, and we can see here each, so with the exception of the Fool, the World, and the Wheel of Fortune, who have all of the chakra points highlighted. So you can see here our Fool has all 7 chakra points. Each of the majors have 2 chakra points. So we see in the magician it's the crown chakra and the third eye chakra. And each of the minors has 1. So our high priestess. So all of the majors seem to take place in this kind of a temple up in the sky, which is really cool. I love the Hierophant surrounded by all the books. That's where I want to live. The lovers. There's a Wheel of Fortune with the 7 chakra points. So this deck is based off the Smith-Waite tradition. So, for example, seeing Justice at 11 and Strength at 8, a lot of the scenic pips will take inspiration, I think, from the Smith-Waite. I love Death with the Monarch Butterflies, beautiful. The Devil. So you can see the person is looking in 3 different mirrors and they see 3 different things. Tower's stunning with the, we can see in the crack in the tower, we can see this bright, beautiful sky showing just behind the tower. So yeah, there's a lot of pain involved in bringing down that tower, but if you can get yourself to the other side of it, there's salvation, there's contentment, there's, peace to be found. Star. The moon is beautiful. I love the way that the moon has been drawn. It's really, really stunning. Judgment. And again, the world with the 7 chakra points energized. And if we compare the full and the world here, get them both in. Can you see off in the distance in the full, we see this, it almost looks like a volcano that's exploding with all 7 colours of the rainbow. Well, we see that volcano in the world as well, just here. So that's really cool. So those are the majors. We then come on to the minors. So we've got our wands, and the wands take place in this kind of a crystal cave. I'll see if I can find that page again. Oops. Just take note of the page number, shouldn't I have? So the Kingdom of the Wands takes you to the magical, I should really show you whilst I'm doing this, the magical glowing caves that are deep in the base of a sacred mountain. Wands are related to the fire element. Keep that page with something. Just got our ace. And the assignment of the chakras to, the numbers, I do believe that it happens. It corresponds to the Tree of Life. I'm sure the Tree of Life had a lot of influence in the selection of or the assignment of the chakras to the cards. Three of Wands, the 4. I love how the colour of the card really kind of just corresponds to the chakra that's being worked on, that's been energized. So here we're looking at the solar plexus chakra, which is all to do with your pride, your self-identity, all of that kind of thing. And that its colour is yellow, and we see all these yellow crystals in the cave around about 7. 8. 9. 10. So you can see as we move through the numbers, we're moving from the crown chakra at the top all the way down to the root chakra at the base of the spine. And then pages are assigned to the crown, knights to the solar plexus, queens to the third eye, and kings to the throat. So those are our wands. Onto the swords. So it says here, the kingdom of swords soars high above the land, up in the clouds. Swords are related to the air element. Two of swords. 3. 4. 5. So the 3 and the 4, sorry, the 4 and the 5 both correspond to the heart chakra, but you see how the stability of the 4 is a much more positive card and has a much more kind of a light, um, just lighter colour, whereas the green in the 5 is much darker, much gloomier, because the 5 is a number of, discontent, of conflict, of instability. 6. 7. 8 of swords. 9. 10. Page. Knight. I love I love the background in this card. It's really nice. The yellows and the dark kind of a clouds. Queen of Swords. And the King. So we're on to the chalices. It says the chalices, the kingdom of chalices is found along the shores of a sparkling and replenishing ocean. Chalices are related to the element of water. So ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In fact, can I just touch on that 8 for a second? I love, so this is a bit different. Normally we have the cups being arranged in some sort of way that makes something feel incomplete. And it gives you the idea that they're off looking for that missing cup, or they're off looking for the missing piece of their heart, soul searching. Here though, we see the line of the cups behind the person who's walking out onto the ocean, so we get this idea of there's security, that they're secure enough in their own emotions that they're paving this way for themselves. It's not that they're, you know, that they're emotionally incomplete and they're going out to complete themselves. They are so secure and so stable and so sure of their own selves, and just, yeah, just so secure in their own emotions that they're able to create this path forward for themselves. So it's a nice different interpretation that you can pull from that. Nine of Cups. Again, the sky is beautiful. And the 10. Big celebration in the Aurora Borealis. Well, I think that's what it is. I'm going to say that anyway. In the sky. Oops. Page. Seahorse in the cup rather than the fish. Knight of Chalices. Queen. And the King. You can see that our King of Chalices is female presenting. So although it uses the traditional Page, Knight, Queen, King terminology, I would say this deck is very kind of explores different expressions of gender. It does do its best to be. It's a very diverse deck, and in my opinion, from my point of view, anyway. Ace of Pence. So the Pentacles. Kingdom of Pentacles is found in a rich and enchanted woodland. Pentacles are related to earth. Two. Three. Four. Five. Six. 7. 8. 9. And 10. Page. Knight. Queen. And our King. And we do have an extra card in this deck, and it is the Shadow card. And that's us. So let me zoom out the camera a bit. Oops, that's zooming in, Chris. Let's have a wee look. So I've got all of my kind of extras in this bag. So let's have a look and see what we got with the deck that Malumir put in. Do you know these wee things? Like confetti or something in with the deck? I'm going to have a word with about that. So this is an extra card that's with the deck as well. It's just a thank you card, which is really nice. It's done really, really nicely. It's like all the characters from the deck, all kind of it's like a group photograph type thing, which is really cool. I also have the This is like a certificate of authenticity. Backer number 90. And it has the card back, but it's like a different kind of a more textured feel to it than what the actual cards themselves are. The cards themselves are this nice matte feel. So we've got some altar cards. We've got the so this just shows us what all the chakras are. Identifies all the chakras and where they are on the body. And then the cards that I've got are the Fool, the Star, and the Moon. And then we have stickers. So these are some of the stickers that have come with the deck. So we'll get the rainbow. So basically one for each element. I think we'll get the rainbow, which would be Spirit, Majors. Then we'll get the cup, the sword, the pentacle, and the wand. So that is the stuff that's come with the deck. So what we'll do now is we shall have a look at this spread that Malumir's devised for the backers to get familiar with their new deck. I'm going to have to give the deck a right good shuffle. So I'll pause it whilst I do that, and then we'll come back and talk about how it is to shuffle and stuff. Then we pull some cards, and then I need to put it in order and stuff. So I'll be pausing and starting and pausing, but we'll get it done. We'll do it together. And yeah, so let's do that. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is shuffle the entire deck just all together, give it a good shuffle, and then we pull 3 cards. So I've been shuffling away. It is quite stiff to riffle shuffle, but like just slightly. It's kind of like on par with US Games card stock, but you know, once it's worn in, it's it's absolutely fine. So can get a right good nice riffle out of it. And obviously overhand. I never really showed you the size comparison, did I? So it feels like a normal US Games type size, but a hair broader, but about the same height. So yeah, so for overhanding, it's quite nice. Okay, so, and I'm reading this off of the email as we go. Stick this over this side so as I can keep that there. So we have 3 positions, 1, 2, and 3 along the left hand side. And we're going to pull 3 cards from the entire shuffled deck for that. So we have 1. I am going to have to zoom out a hell of a lot actually in order to fit all this in. See how we got on. So we've got 1, 2, angle these to the side slightly. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. The next thing we need to do is divide the deck up into the majors and the minors, so 2 piles, and then with the minors I need to divide them up into each chakra. So all of the root chakra cards go together, all of the sacral, blah 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 up to crown. So I'm going to pause again and I'm going to do that just now, so that you don't need to sit and watch me try to divide up the deck. Okay, so we've got all the piles separated out over to my other side. I think what I'll do is I'll go through the cards one by one and I'll just kind of take them and put them on because I'm not going to fit 7 cards this way onto the table. So I'll just need to kind of layer them on top of each other. So the first card that we have down here is the benefits I will receive in working with this deck. Okay, and I have got the Moon. So working with the emotional self, working with the unconscious, really tapping into that kind of an unconscious realm that, all too often we're not really versed with, we're not too familiar with. It's the kind of an area where dreams come from, it's where our fears come from, it's things we can't quite explain in that rational way that we might always want to. So if this is a benefit that I'm going to receive from the deck, then it means it's going to kind of help me work with that kind of a side of myself, which is, sounds really good. The second card is the effort required of me in working with this deck. So what am I going to have to give when I'm working with it? I've got the Magician. So I'm going to have to use the tools that are at my disposal. Um, I'm going to have to take an active part in my working with this deck. It's not something I'm going to be able to be kind of a passive with. I'm going to have to actually use it, have it out of the pack, giving it a shuffle, using it to pull cards from. Really kind of a get down and dirty with the deck itself, is what this would say to me. Um, and the third card is why this deck has come into my life right now. And we have the High Priestess. You know, I always feel the need to say this, to stress this, but I did make sure that the deck was really well shuffled. Before I turned the camera back on, when I was shuffling, I went through and made sure there were no consecutive cards. So, I mean, these two were obviously just meant to come out together. So why is this deck come into my life right now? So again, it's more of that moon kind of energy. The High Priestess is the guardian of the moon. So I suppose it's just to act as my guide around this kind of a moon realm, around this unconscious realm. That's kind of a working with my side of myself that I've perhaps not worked with before, or just tapping into my intuition and you know, more of my softer side, I suppose, and just helping me through that. The deck is going to act as my guide through that moon realm. Okay. This is where we come to the to the seven chakra points. So it says next, divide up your deck like this. Separate the majors and set them aside, then separate the minors by chakra. There should be 8 little piles face down, 1 pile of majors, 7 piles of minors. Cool. Pull 1 from each of the minor piles so that each chakra position has a card from the pile related to that chakra position. So pull a card from the root chakra pile and put it on the root chakra position, and so on. So I suppose this is just a card to relate to each chakra point. So for root chakra, I'm thinking, where I get my security from. It's my groundedness. So things that you would quite typically associate perhaps with the element of earth. Your safety, your security, the roof above your head, all of that kind of stuff that keeps you going. So I've got my root chakra pile here. And we have the Nine of Wands. The Nine of Wands. So this is like, the 9 is a number of completion for me. Um, perhaps looking at this thing, you might be saying it's kind of a saying you're almost there. Sometimes we say with the 9, we associate it with someone who's been through a bit of a battle, been through a bit of a war, and they're struggling a bit, they're struggling to keep going, but the message with it is always, you're almost there, keep going. So perhaps when it comes to my root chakra, to my safety, my security, it's taking a bit of a battering, but the deck is saying, you're fine, you're very much accomplished in this area. It's just a case of kind of a keep going with it and keep doing what you're doing, keep fighting the fight type thing. So that makes sense for me right now, I suppose. Um, just with stuff that's been going on family-wise recently, things have been a bit difficult, and my sense of safety and security and my safe space has been, compromised, if you can call it that. But yeah, I just need to keep going. Sacral. So this to me is like my imprint on the world, my physical imprint on the world, the actions that I take, the things that I do. It's associated with creativity, creation, sexuality, all of the different kind of ways that we make an imprint on the world. And we've got the Seven of Chalices, the Seven of Cups. So maybe being a bit illusioned with how I am making an imprint on the world, maybe not having full sight of the cause and effect cycle, because for me the Seven of Cups is a card of, you know, having your head in the clouds, not quite being grounded and not quite seeing, you know, things as they truly are. So if this is related to my imprint, then it's perhaps not quite being able to see and appreciate the cause and effect, not appreciating like that when I do something that has this effect on the world, or you know, vice versa, not appreciating that, you know, that thing that's going on there is because I did XYZ yesterday. So maybe that's something that I'm going to need to work on. The next one, solar plexus, my sense of self-identity, you know, self-worth, pride in my own abilities, all that kind of a thing. What do we have? We have the Knight of Wands, so very energetic, very fiery, very active. So this would suggest that I'm someone who is, you know, very quick to defend myself, um, very fiery, get fired up when it comes to protecting my own sense of self-worth and self-identity. I will perhaps be open and admit that um, sometimes my ego can take a bit of a bashing, and sometimes it does cause me to turn around and bite back. Again, that's maybe another thing that I'm going to have to work on a bit. The Knight of Wands isn't a bad card at all, by the way, you know, and you know, if that energy is put to good use, then you can achieve loads, you can get a lot done. Okay, so a good sense of self, a healthy ego, and a good sense of your own self-worth is definitely, you know, it can lead you to do lots of positive things in life. But equally, if it's in shadow, it, it can be quite counterproductive and can become quite self-destructive. So together with the sacral chakra, I'm seeing things that I'm perhaps going to have to work on here. Next one up is the heart chakra. And this is kind of the emotional self, I guess. Um, Five of Wands, so some conflict in the heart chakra. Now, am I putting these all in all funny ways about? No, I'm not. Good. So we've got some conflict in the heart chakra, some conflict in my kind of emotional self. Again, more of what I was talking about down here with the 9 at the root chakra. There are some family things going on right now. If you watch my channel, you know, you probably know that I've had bereavement in my family, so it makes sense that I'm a bit emotionally unstable at the moment. Emotionally unstable makes it sound quite harsh. It's not quite that bad. Coping well, doing well, and all that kind of a thing, but it just makes sense that we maybe see a bit of a blip in that chakra point at this particular moment in time. Next one up, we have the throat chakra. So where the sacral was physical imprint, you know, physical expression, the throat is more expressing your true self, expressing verbally, expressing messages, and putting across information and your meaning, and you know, just communicating what's going on behind the surface. Um, we've got the Three of Pentacles. Funny because it's a very physical card. Um, so I express myself through creativity, through my sacral chakra, through my physical imprint. That is how I express myself, perhaps. Working together with others, you know, how I collaborate with other people. That is part of my self-expression. So I express myself through, and I suppose that is quite true actually when I'm forced to think about it. You know, if I am just sitting here in an empty room in front of a camera and I'm asked to talk about something important and to give my views on it, I might find it quite difficult to do so, and I might actually misrepresent myself, not intentionally, obviously, but you know, I might not come across too well. Whereas if it's a discussion, if I'm sitting with someone at the other side and we're talking back and forth, then that is when I can really get my point across, and not just because like someone else is prompting me and asking me questions, but because you're being prompted to think about things. So yeah, that is quite a nice card to have there, and it makes sense for me. Um, we then come to the third eye. So that's like your spiritual sight, you know, your senses, your perception of the world around about you. We've got the Two of Swords. Um, so the deck seems to be saying that it's going to help me work with that kind of area. Okay, and we see choices and perhaps a bit of a dilemma in that area at the moment. Geez, oh, there's a lot that I need to work on apparently, isn't there? But yeah, choices and being kind of between two different paths at the moment in terms of my third eye, in terms of my spiritual, and you know, I always hesitate to use the word psychic, but you know, in terms of my kind of a perception of that kind of a realm, that kind of a world. But that's good because you know we're going to be me and this deck are going to be working on that together. And then last but not least, we have the crown chakra. So that is connection to the world around about us, connection to to spirituality, connection to nature. Basically, it's our you know it's our connection to anything out with ourselves. Look at the Page of Pentacles. So again, kind of like what I was saying, with the the throat chakra card. Um, I do connect with people by connecting, preferably in person, and you know, I might say physically. That's a rude, but um, like having physical interactions with people, you know, rather than just like emails and stuff like that. I do like to have that kind of a physical touch. This is the Page of Pentacles card. So yeah, we see him reaching for the pentacle up above in the tree. So always reaching for something greater, I suppose, is what we can see there. So that was the crown, and then the last card, which gets pulled from the pile of majors. So finally, pull a card from the majors pile and put it on the important chakra relationship position. Remember, the majors cards and chakra healing tarot have more than one chakra point on them to show you where there is an important relationship between multiple chakras in your energy body. And the card that we have is the Hanged One. So we've got the sacral and the heart. Um, so sacral and heart. Um, when I was talking about these two chakra points here, I talked about perhaps being a bit disillusioned about the imprint and the impact that I'm having on the world around about me, and you know perhaps that's linked to just some stuff that I've been going through right now. Um, the Hanged Man suggests taking a different point of view. It suggests taking some time out, taking a sacred pause, and just I think there's, you know, that shows a lot of healing. It makes it sound like I've been through a war. I've not, you know, like I say, I'm doing well. There's just been some stuff that's been going on, as we all have from time to time, and maybe need to take some time to do some healing. But that will happen, that will come. And the Hangman perhaps suggests that I'm going to have to look at things slightly differently than I normally would in order to achieve that. So there we go. That is the introduction spread that Malumir had devised for us to do with the Chakra Healing Tarot. I hope that you've enjoyed watching this. It's pretty cool to see all the cards laid out like this, even though I've had to kind of really layer them on top of each other to fit them somewhat into the shot. I think it does look quite cool at that actually. But yeah, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much to Malumir Logan for creating such an amazing deck. I just love I love the art style. I love the use of color. It's really made me learn about the chakras. Before I would never even have thought twice about chakras and stuff like that. But now it's how I center myself when I'm meditating. Um, and yeah, it's become quite an important part of this side of me. So yeah, thank you to everyone who's watched this. I hope that you've enjoyed it. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.